Audio check 1 2. Morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to start very soon. Just a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are a registered speaker, please make yourself known to Madam Chair. If she doesn't see you, put up your hand when your item comes up. A couple of small housekeeping. The applicant always goes first, and then the neighbors can go next. And you only get one chance to speak unless the members ask you questions. Please fill out a card or a piece of paper that it lets us record that you're here and that we can send you a decision. So please fill that out. This is the only podium and mic that works for speakers for both applicant and neighbors. That there's no mic attached to that one. So please, this is where you stand. Keep in mind, we stream live onto YouTube. No takebacks. I tried. So just be careful what you say. This is a very sensitive mic. It will pick up conversations in the first couple of rows and stream it live onto YouTube. So be very careful. When you come up, there's a button here. Turn it on. It'll glow red. You're on. When you're finished, please turn it off. Just to avoid picking up some unwanted conversation. Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Mary Ann Casson, and I will be chairing today's session. Panel members with me today are Mr. Nipfeld on my left, Ms. Sankar, who is online, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Fazeli to my right. And our Deputy Secretary Treasurer today is Simon Lamb. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. For those participating virtually, when your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations that have been submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When an application is contested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation. When an application is uncontested, the committee may not require a presentation. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept new materials at the hearing. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute mark. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. All right, Mr. Secretary Treasurer, do we have minutes to adopt?
Madam Chair, do we go through conflicts, or do you want to go through that?
Haven't yet, but we can start with conflicts.
Okay.
Does anyone have any conflicts for this morning's agenda? Nope. None.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 2 minutes to adopt. June 4th and June 18th will go in order. For June 4th, present was Mr. Allison, Mr. Fazeli, Ms. Klein, Ms. Sankar, and Mr. Marziari.
All right. We have a motion to approve the minutes. Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, I motion to approve those minutes, please.
Thank you. And a seconder? Mr. Nipfeld? All in favor? All right. That is carried.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our second set of minutes to approve for your consideration is from our June 18th hearing. Present was Mr. Allison, Ms. Casson, Mr. Schwartz, and Mr. Marziari.
Did someone make a motion to approve?
Sure. I forward a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Fazeli, seconder. Mr. Nipfeld, all in favor? That is carried. Next, we have deferral requests.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the 10 a.m. time slot, we are aware of one deferral request. Item number 8, 207 Connaught.
All right, shall we move to 8 first? Is the applicant in the audience, or? Yes, they are. Okay. Would you like to come forward, sir? 207 Connaught Avenue. All right. And do we have Welcome. Just make sure
Good
the
morning.
microphone's on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My name's Sam Themelis. I live right across the 207 Connaught building.
Oh, one
Uh,
second. We're looking for the applicant.
The applicant?
Yeah, are you a resident?
I'm a resident across the street, yeah.
Okay, just hold on one sec. We need the applicant first. You can have a seat, sir. I take it they're online.
Hello,
Hello?
hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So
Oh,
start with your
yeah.
name and address, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and the Committee of Adjustment members. My name is Jimmy Pham from Perspective Views, agent for the applicant at 207 Connaught Avenue. On behalf of the owner, we respectfully request a deferral on this application to allow additional time to complete a zoning review and determine the appropriate approval path.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant? Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Can you explain to me what, I don't understand your reason for requesting a deferral. It seems to me that what we have before us from planning is that the application is clearly against the zoning bylaw, and I'm wondering, is there some variances that are missing, or is there some other piece of information that you feel you need time to bring forward to planning?
Because for this one, we didn't go through the zoning review. So, and we have some kind of meeting with the planner, and then we're going through that, and then there's some kind of unclear minor variance. So it's not appropriate for us to go through the COA right now. So we would going back and going through the zoning review first and conduct all the minor variance, and then we should go from there. And also the client needs more time to figure it out another better path to go through with this applicant.
Thank you.
No worry.
All right, and we have a resident here. Sir, now you can speak. Could we start with your name and address, please?
My name is Sam Themelis.
And your
I live,
address?
Directly across the street from 207. It's 216 Connaught Avenue.
Okay, so the applicant is requesting a deferral of the application today, so we wouldn't make a decision on it today. It would come back at a later date. He's asking for that to confer with planning staff.
Can I say a couple of things, Madam Speaker?
If they're relevant to the deferral, but not to the actual application.
Well, I have a concern with the application that was approved by the city in the first place.
The original
The
application.
original one,
Mhm.
yes, because it's a 50-foot by 132 lot. Originally, it was just a single dwelling there with 3 occupants living in the property. And now what they're trying to do is they're trying to increase it to a 6-plex. They're still building the 4-plex there in the garden shed that they have in the back. We were surprised about a garden shed, but they did it about 3 weeks ago. It's just not part of the character of the property there. It's a
right.
big concern. There's only a single driveway there that was originally with the bungalow that was there, and now they're going to put. I've seen. I was able to see the property inside. There's like 2 bedrooms in each unit that they have, and where are all these cars going to go? That's a huge concern.
So.
And we've had a lot of problems with the builder there, blocking the street constantly, parking in front of the fire hydrant that is at 218 Connaught, which is right next to me. And it's just terrible the way they're doing this whole thing.
Okay, well, thank you. We're not debating the merits of the application today. The the fourplex is permitted by the city, so it was only variances to permit the fourplex that would have been considered by the committee. Now the applicant's coming back trying to add 2 additional units in the basement, as you
Okay,
probably
I
know.
understand that, but
So-
the applicant already knew that they were gonna do a sixplex in the first
They
place.
they may have, I don't know, but we are at this point just talking about the deferral of the application. So we will take it into committee to make a decision about that.
Okay, so basically, from what I understanding is the city has approved fourplexes
Yes,
in any neighborhood?
pretty much,
Really?
yes.
And what about the density, though? Does the city concern
took
itself
that
with density
into
of what's
account.
going on?
It was
The
part
number
of a
people that will
study.
live there?
There was a study done by the city to determine whether it was appropriate to allow these types of developments, the multiplexes and the garden suites in multiple neighborhoods.
Is it possible I can get a copy of that study?
You could contact staff, or, you know, you could go through 311 or just go on the city's website and you could just Google multiplexes and you will find all the information, all the reports that the city did on that.
Who would I contact in the staff? Someone in North York here?
I don't think you need to. You just need to look, if you go on the city's website, if you use the internet, and look up, EHON is the acronym for it, EHON. But you can just, I think if you put multiplex into the search on the city's website, you'll come up with the reports and or contacts for if you need further information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're
Thank you.
welcome. All right, I think we'll take this into committee. Anyone comments? Motion? Okay, somebody, Mr. Newfeld?
Madam Chairman, I have concerns with the request for deferral. It seems to me that this is clearly, it's a request for a sixplex and they're not permitted. And I don't see the reason for a deferral. It seems to me that the application should, as planning department recommended, be refused. So I'm unable to support the deferral.
Sorry, Mr. Newfeld, I've just been informed there's some other residents in the audience that weren't registered who you wish to come forward. This is regarding the deferral that we're talking about. No? You don't have a concern with the deferral. You have a concern with the application. Okay, thank you. All right, sorry. We heard your comments. And does anyone else have any comments to make, or do you want to make a motion?
Madam Chairman, I would propose a motion that the deferral be refused, the request for deferral be refused.
All right, do we have a seconder for that motion? The deferral be, we have to deal with the motion for deferral first.
Yeah.
So to deny your motion is to deny the deferral.
Yes,
All right,
initially, yeah.
okay, do we have a seconder on that? Mr. Bartolo. All right, all in favor of that motion? That is 4 in favor, sorry, Ms. Sankar. And against? Mr. Fazeli is against that motion. All right, so the deferral has not been granted. And do we just let this go back into the rotation? All right, so we'll go back to item 1 now. So sorry, did you understand what we did just there? We've denied the request for deferral, so we will hear the application, but in order. So it's number 8, and right now we're going back to item 1, just so you know, if you're gonna hang around. Okay? All right. Let's just go to item 1. All right. 551 FAIRLAWN Avenue. This is consent to sever a 15.24 meter lot into two 7.62 meter lots. We have associated variances for height of side exterior main walls, building length, east side yard setback, lot frontage, lot area, rear deck setback to the east lot line, front canopy setback to the west lot line, front porch setback to the west lot line, platform encroachment into the rear yard and east side yard. On file, we have a survey, draft R plan, plans, cover letter, supporting material, arborist report, development engineering and transportation review memo, urban forestry memo, 6 letters of objection, and a petition of objection with roughly 50 signatures. And we have a late community planning report. So we'll start with our applicant. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Jonathan Binskowski, 602 Pape Avenue.
Thank you. And have you seen the community planning report?
I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we have a number of people in opposition. Is anyone in the audience on this item? No? Oh, up there. Thank you. And then I think we probably have some people online as well. So I guess we'll start with a brief presentation. Please.
Absolutely. If we could bring up the support material I filed. Yes, perfect. If we could maybe zoom in on the left first. So what I've done here is I've taken essentially a screenshot of 2 separate policies. On the left, we see the SASP 826 policy, which permits multiplexes in neighborhoods. And if we go over to the right side of the screen, we're going to see Chapter 4.1.5, the neighborhoods section of the official plan that speaks to the design criteria in order for an application to meet the test of the OP. If we just zoom in on the right side, I'd like to just review the 2 opening sentences because I think that's very important when reviewing the context of this application and in essence, which policy actually does apply to this proposal. The policy on the right side, again, is from 4.1.5, not the SAS policy of the official plan that permits the multiplexes. So on the right side, the opening language, in a nutshell, the test really is to respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. And that's very important when we look at respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. If we zoom in on the SASP policy on the left, that same opening language says something entirely different. It actually says maintain the low-rise physical form of the neighborhood. So very different in terms of respect and reinforce the existing physical character and maintain the low-rise physical form of a neighborhood. Now, back to the right side, if we look at D, we'll see where it says prevailing building type. Okay, so now let's examine what the prevailing building type would mean. In this neighborhood, prior to the provisions of the zoning bylaw amendment, as well as the OP amendment, SAS 826, the prevailing building type would be single-family dwellings. So if we now go to the next page, please, and if we zoom in at the top into the opening sentence, I've taken a snippet from the official plan. So if we now zoom in and we read where it says, Chapter 5 of the official plan, implementation making things happen, contains policies to ensure that the plan is effective over the long term. Policy 5.6.7 contains language to ensure that if the design, that if changes are made through a SASP, again, going back to SASP 826, that there is guidance how to interpret these policies that may differ from those within the SASP. So again, this is telling us if there is a difference between the OP policy and the SASP policy, we have to figure out how we're going to interpret and give the weight. If we could just zoom in a little bit more, it's a little blurry. It's just kind of hard for me to really read. If we zoom in on policy 7 in particular, we read, the policy of this plan will apply to areas subject to cite area-specific policies contained in Chapter 6 and 7, except where in the case of a conflict, that the site and area-specific policy will prevail. So going back to the first page, we have SASP 826, which permits multiplexes. We have 4.1.5, okay, that again speaks to the prevailing building type. We know the prevailing building type would not be a multiplex in this neighborhood because they wouldn't have been permitted as 3 and 4 unit buildings. So that is now telling us that the policies of SASP 826 are the determinative policy we should be evaluating when looking at this policy. Additionally, SASP 826 does not include any language of the prevailing, the immediate or the broader context. That's gone, okay? So if we now go to the policies of SASP 826 and we do zoom down a little bit, these, in my opinion, are the determinative policies for this application, not 4.1.5. So if we read the opening language of SASP 826, we're going to see that low-rise residential buildings that contain more than 1 unit make more efficient use of land. This is a severance that does propose multi-unit buildings on each and provide more. Can we just zoom out a little bit more? It's just kind of blurry. Maybe it's my eyes looking at the yellow with all the lights in my eyes, but I'm having trouble seeing it. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. Low-rise residential buildings that contain more than 1 unit make more efficient use of land and provide more ground-related housing choices for all residents at all stages of their lives, supporting the vitality of the city's neighborhoods. Multiplexes, which is what we are proposing, residential buildings containing up to 4 units, can deliver additional dwellings while integrating with the general physical, scale, and development patterns of the neighborhood. To accommodate the modest intensification needed to house more people, regulations for multiplexes may differ from single-unit buildings to ensure efficient and livable homes for the Toronto neighborhoods. If we could just zoom down, please. So this here, the opening language of SASP 826 is telling us that multiplexes will be a different form of development. They have to be. They weren't permitted before. So we know it's going to differ. So again, just going down to B, this is the test, essentially, in my opinion, that replaces 4.1.5 because we know we can't fall under the prevailing building type, so we automatically fail 415. So this takes us to the SASP test now. And again, this was the language I was speaking. Again, if we look at B, I, development of multiplexes will maintain the low-rise built form of each geographic neighborhood, okay, including in particular.
Sorry to interrupt, Madam Chair, the 5 minutes is up.
Oh, I didn't even see the time.
I couldn't see the timer either.
Madam Chair, just apologies to the applicant. I think we should give him maybe 1 or 2 minutes because he did not know.
Sure.
We're having issues with our timer. Our staff are trying to figure it out. So as a courtesy, I think.
It seemed
maybe
like it was
perhaps-
getting pretty close, but
Yeah.
maybe
So
you
why
could
don't you give him a couple, just 2 more minutes at
Sure,
this point?
sure. I'll do my best, but I have a feeling we'll come out with some questions. So again, it's maintaining the low-rise geographic form of the neighborhood, not respecting and reinforcing. So if we now go into these development policies enumerated through A and on, I have provided a summary of how we fit in with those, mainly being family-style livings, orientating entrances, again, fitting in with that physical form of the neighborhood, acknowledging that it can be different. Understanding I have 2 minutes, I do want to just go to my lot study and talk about a couple things there. Can we go down a couple of slides, please, into page 5, please? So here I've done a lot frontage map, a study area. All the properties within this study area share the same zoning category as the subject property, as per the direction of the official plan. I want to just point out a couple of quick things. If we could just zoom into the chart in the top right corner, please. The proposed lot frontage, so I've created 5 different ranges here. The proposed lot frontage falls within the first category, okay, which again is about 8.86% of the lots, and I'm on the top end, okay? So the 7.62 would be the top end, meaning there are smaller in that 8.86%. The subject property today sits at the lower end at 4.79%, okay? So in terms of what's a better reflection of what is within this study area, understanding that SASP 826 has removed the immediate context and the broader context, we're back to the official plan direction of things like prevailing zoning category, walkability, is there any physical encumbrances, and that. So in terms of what we're proposing, in my opinion, is a better reflection of what's within the neighborhood itself. Similarly, if we go down to the next slide, I did essentially the same thing for the lot area. In this instance, the first category, which the subject property is proposed to be in, is 19.53% and 6.58%. I just want to get through one more thing very quickly. If we could just go down one more page. On June 2nd, the province of Ontario passed Bill 98. Part of the provisions of Bill 98 is a proposed amendment that municipalities will have to adhere to, that the minimum lot frontage has to be 175 meters squared. There is some additional language on the second page that speaks, in addition to the 175 square meter minimum lot area, a municipality, these are only properties located out of the greenbelt, which this property is. A municipality is not permitted to put a lot frontage or a lot depth requirement that hinders the 175 square meter minimum lot area. So this is coming. And just to wrap it up, in my opinion, this is the first time the province, through all of the types of intensification and OREGs they put in, have gone after lots. We have never seen anything that actually is saying, hey, some of these lot restrictions are encumbrances that shouldn't be there. This is the first time, in my opinion, the province has put something in that is directly saying these lots. Okay, I can see, Madam Chair, you let me go on, and I do appreciate that.
All right. All right. Questions of the applicant to start with. Mr. Nipfel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Brankowski, just a very small point. That was a good presentation, but you've got objectors listening, and I'm not sure they understand what SAS is. Maybe you should explain that.
Yes, so when the city implements a new policy, they put a SAS, which is called a site and area specific policy. These SAS policies guide that different form of development, because it goes back to one of my opening sentences that speaks to, if you fail any part of 4.1.5, you fail the official plan test. In order to have these new policies have any weight, or from a planning perspective, to be able to stand here and speak to that policy, they have to put another mechanism in for us to evaluate the feasibility, whether it fits with the official plan policies. So these are policies that it has everything from the fourplexes to the garden suites. Every new essentially zoning bylaw amendment that goes in and the SAS come hand in hand. Otherwise, you can pass one test but fail the other.
The 175 square meter lot, that's not a maximum.
That would be a minimum.
That's
That would be a minimum,
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
So you have, I follow your logic with respect to building type and function, that sort of thing. And a multiplex could be permitted on a lot, on the existing lot, notwithstanding the consent. But lot frontage is still something to consider in terms of the general area. And you've done your lot study to show us other lot frontages that are similar to what you're proposing. But generally, there's nothing in the OP, or the OP basically talks about prevailing character of the neighborhood, and the character of the neighborhood, I can't get my head around the frontage requirement that you're proposing, because it's half the size of the lots that are in the general area in the original subdivision.
Madam Chair, I don't know if I would say half. I think the majority of the lots are around 12 meters, not into that kind of.
Sorry, I meant what you're proposing is half the lot frontage. You're 7.62, right? I forget the size of the lot, isn't it? 15, a minute, just get to my notes.
Oh, no, Madam Chair, the required minimum lot frontage is 12 meters.
Oh, 12 meters.
12
yeah.
meters,
Okay,
correct.
sorry.
But if we could just further the question you asked me about the 175, if we could go back to my presentation and we go to, I think, the third last page, because again, I think it's important that we understand where the province wants this to go and where the province wants housing to go. And we can see again, and we can see if we zoom in on that page right there. So this is what was essentially that formed the part of the public consultation that the province put out before Bill 98 came into effect on June 2nd. And if we read right there where it starts, the second sentence, in addition, the regulation making authority would be scoped to zoning and would not apply to subdivision control out of the scope of this. And any municipal zoning requirement for minimum lot frontage and or minimum depth that would not allow for the minimum lot size standard to be met would be inapplicable. So it's essentially saying the logic of that is work backwards from 175 square meters. Okay, so if we take a standard 100-foot lot, I'm just going to use feet because it's generally easier. If we take that standard 100-foot lot, the minimum lot frontage, okay, would be working backwards again, going 100. And how do we get to the 1,700, 1,800 square feet? So it's telling you that a 6-meter lot in the 5 to 6 meter lot range is where this is moving.
That might be right, and that might be something, that's something the city needs to address, you know, on a larger context.
I totally agree, Madam Chair.
But within the Committee of Adjustment, we're just dealing with the zoning as it is right now. So it's a different situation from our perspective.
I do agree with you, Madam Chair, but again, I think it goes into that vision of where housing is going, where the province is going. I just wanted to bring that up as my
No,
last
that's fine.
point to show that this is the first time the province is going after severances. I don't want, maybe going after wasn't the right word, but they're looking at altering things that have to do with lot severances rather than just multiplexes and densities. This is the first time we've seen that.
Right.
Even in the PMTSA areas, there's nothing that speaks to severances or lot areas.
Mm-hmm. But that's different. So, okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to our residents. Sorry, Mr. Fazeli, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Hogging the microphone.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I want to clarify this here. I know that you're explaining about your argument is right now about applying SASP here rather than official plan, right? And because of that, the SASP basically within your argument allows what you are requesting, whereas the official plan is not. So the interpretation here, your interpretation is that you apply SASP. The report that we are having, they're applying official plan. And so first question I have is that, have you communicated your argument with the community planning? And if you did, what was their answer? Because the report I'm currently having does not reflect the SASP. And that is actually the trigger here. Because if you use this policy versus the other, that distinguishes everything in a decision. For me personally, I'm seeing that this is the official plan. I don't see the SASP, but I want to hear more on this and what's your argument and what were the answers?
Briefly, really briefly.
Okay. 3, Madam Chair. No, I did not communicate to the city. The city knows the position of other planners on this. This has been taken to the TLAB. This has been spoken of. The city is fairly staunch in their position that the OP still applies, even though we see in chapter 5 that speaks to if there's a conflict of any sort, the SAS takes effect. You know, I'll be very quick, Madam Chair. I think the point of the direction of the OP is if you're going to fail the prevailing building type instantly, how can you apply that? And how can you then have multiplexes where they never could have been the prevailing building type because they couldn't have existed, right? So I really have a hard time with not seeing that interpretation when the OP is telling us that and the prevailing building type is there. There are similarities in the SASP 2415. There are similarities in the language, but again, the respect and reinforce and maintaining the low-rise physical form of the neighborhood, that's the opening. That's what we have to prove. Respect and reinforce or maintain the low-rise physical form of a neighborhood. And those are two very different tests. Those are two very different words. And I can see, Madam Chair, you're looking at me side-eyed. So I hope that answered.
I think you've had your time for now. And we will start with the residents that are here on this item. If you'd like to come, do you want to come forward and speak? Or you're just monitoring? Okay, that's fine. Do we have someone online? Thank you.
Jordan Talsky's unmuted.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Telsky.
Hi, good afternoon.
Could you speak up a
Yes.
bit?
Hello?
Yes, you're very quiet.
Okay, sorry, I'm using Bluetooth earbuds. I only, as a resident with a shared property line. Just want to express my objection to the proposed size of the development. And I think I had submitted in time a letter in PDF format. I don't know if you have access to it or not. But I think the scale of what's planned is just somewhat outrageous compared to what exists on that property already and what is surrounding it. And it's likely to, it just doesn't fit in with the prevailing type of residences. And I think it's just too dense for what's proposed for that small size of lot.
All right, thank you. Anything further?
I believe there was, I had received by email a copy of a recent panel. I'm just scrolling through my email, trying to find it. Someone had sent me, gosh, I'm trying to find this.
We received a
Sorry, I
number
can't
of
remember
letters.
this.
Is it someone else's letter you're referring to?
Well, I had submitted my own by
Yep.
email.
You did.
Yeah, so, but there was a report that recently, just I think on July 5th or 6th, that one of the city's own departments had come out with saying that they, according to some of the rules, that the proposals, oh, here it is. My wife found it on her phone.
Are you
It
referring to
was
the community planning
the
report?
staff report.
Yes. Okay, so we have that up on the
Yes.
screen now. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I imagine that the people who were involved in reviewing the application understand the rules and all of the numbers and ratios and things involved. And it makes a lot of sense. And I hope that the committee respects that and follows their conclusions as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of this resident? No? All right. Do we have another person?
Sean Bergner is unmuted.
All right. Mr. Werger, are you there? Hello? We can't seem to hear you, but you're unmuted. But we do have his letter. Staff have put it up on the screen.
Unfortunately, we've lost Mr. Werger.
All right. I think they're going to try to attempt to speak to him.
Madam Chair, I just tried to dial the phone number that was provided to us for Mr. Werger, and it says that he's not available. It's a voicemail.
All right. Well, we do have his letter on file. I think we all reviewed all the information. Do we want to, we'll go back to Mr. Benkowski. And obviously, people, there are a number of concerns if you've seen all the letters of opposition to the application.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I actually had extensive conversations with Mr. Worker, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'll leave it at that. Just a couple of things I wanted to speak of. In terms of the massing and what could be there, we're proposing 2 dwellings, each with 2 units, a total of 4 units. The 4 units would be permitted in one house regardless. Also, the first speaker, I didn't get his name, it was hard to hear. The first speaker spoke of the massing of what would be there with these 2 dwellings is not represented in the area. My argument would actually be the massing that is permitted as one house would be much larger than the 2 dwellings that are there with the separation between them. The total ground floor coverage of both dwellings we are proposing is 210 square meters. What would be permitted as one dwelling on 45% coverage is 240.39 square meters. So the actual massing would be larger with one dwelling, taking away the space in between. I also, just to speak to Mr. Werger, a couple of his concerns, I don't have a request for a reduction to the side yard setback to Mr. Werger. We are as per the zoning bylaw, to the east. I would also note that a couple of his concerns also had to do with privacy and overlook. There are no second floor windows at the rear bedrooms. The only second floor bedrooms are in the middle of the dwelling. And another question he had was with the deck coming off of the kitchen. If you actually look at, if we wanted to go to the floor plans, maybe just very briefly and go to the first floor. If we actually look at the wood, can we actually go to the first floor because it just shows the orientation of the doors in that. Perfect. So if we actually look at the design here, if we take the 2 doors there, sorry, if we could just go down to the bottom where if we look at where the doors are, that really is a non-functional space to really sit at. It's more of going to be a barbecue area. I also did suggest to Mr. Werger that if meritorious, we could tie it to the plans. That helped him a little bit, I think. And that's essentially, I think all I have to say. I think that's it, Madam Chair.
I think I think you've said everything you can say at this point. All right,
I have
thank you.
more.
I'm sure you do,
can.
but I think we've heard enough.
Madam Chair.
Yes?
Mr. Werther is asking to be unmuted. If I can confirm. It doesn't appear we can see him in the call.
Okay. So-
Madam Chair, we can't see him in the call in the meeting. And I
Alright.
tried his voicemail again.
Well, our apologies to Mr. Werger, but I think we have his letter and we're aware of his concerns. So in addition to all the other letters of concern, I think we're well aware of what the neighbors' comments and concerns are. So I think we'll proceed to committee unless anyone has any further questions of the applicant. No? All right, you can sit down. Thanks. Okay, let's take it into committee. Does anyone want to start the conversation? Could we have the planning report up, the late staff report? Be helpful. I know you had it there before, but thank you. All right. I mean, this is, how many of these applications have we had that are very similar, I think, in nature? We have a negative staff report. We have the policies, which I think the policies do support the permitted use, but I think it comes down to the consent and the lot size. frontage. And I think that is that's the issue I have with it personally. It just isn't, at some point in the future, maybe the city will look at this, but at this point, we have, the prevailing character of the neighborhood is not 7.62 meter, although there are other lots of that size. And as the applicant pointed out, there are a few that are possibly smaller. So, but personally, I have concerns with it. So anyone else want to comment or make a motion? Mr. Nipfel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have similar concerns going through the application initially, and then receiving the planning department report. I agree with the planning department's analysis and their conclusions that the consent does not meet the requirements under section 5124, and that the variances in fact don't meet the 4 tests under section 45 of the Planning Act. And on that basis, I'd be inclined to refuse both the consent and the variances.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Unless my colleagues wish to speak.
Unless anyone else wants to jump in. Okay,
Do you want them together or separately?
together.
Okay, I would move that the consent application be refused in that it does not meet the criteria under 5124, and that the minus variance applications also be refused because they do not meet the 4 tests under section 45 of the Planning Act. And I don't think there's any need to say anything further.
All right, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Mr. Fazeli? All in favor of the motion? That is unanimous, carried. The application has been refused. All right, item number 2. 190 Calvington Drive. This is an application to alter the existing ancillary building, which is a detached garage, by constructing a 1-story rear addition and converting it into a garden suite. The variances are for separation between the main wall of the residential building and the garden suite, setback of an ancillary building or garden suite to the rear yard. On file, we have a survey, plans, and a community planning report. Is our applicant with us or online? Is anyone in the audience here on this item? Don't think so. All right, thank you. Go ahead, applicant.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Oh, hi, my name is Enzo Lacasano. I'm the agent. We're located we're from Arch TWG at 1245 Caledonia Road in Toronto.
Thank you very much. All right, committee, do we want a presentation? There's nobody on this item from what I can tell. Or do you have any questions of the applicant? Yeah. No? I don't think we need a presentation unless there's something you want to specifically point out to us.
No, again, if committee, if staff wants to put up that one photo, which will clearly show, because it's really, the addition is really an infill to a corner of the garage. That's already, again, it's an existing garage. So we're actually not expanding the sort of outside dimensions of the garage. If you go to like the arborist or the tree photos, it clearly shows that.
And have you seen the community planning report that recommends?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay. Did we find the photo?
it should be under, yeah, the tree photos that we
We
submitted.
had tree photos, did we? So, they're what? Yeah, we didn't have them in the package. I don't know. That's okay.
Oh, because that's a requirement, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't be there.
Maybe just pull up the site plan.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm talking to staff.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the site, if you go to the site plan. There you go, right? So that little shaded area in the back,
Yes.
that's the infill because there's already, you can see there's like a little column there. So that's actually a covered area that's already there. All we're doing is enclosing that space in order to make the garden suite work a little bit better with space.
All right.
So we're
Thank
not taking up any additional landscape area or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Let's take this into committee. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, if there are no other questions, I do believe that this small enclosure to make that garden suite work a bit better does meet the 4 tests. I didn't have a problem with my review of this application in advance, and I can make a motion to approve this application and
Please.
make it subject to the July 2nd staff report, and that variance number 2 related to the rear yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the committee. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Fazeli? All in favor? That is carried. The application has been approved. All right, item 3, 306 Cranbrook Avenue. This is to alter the existing detached dwelling by constructing a 1-story front addition. The variances are for front yard soft landscaping and front yard setback. On file, we have a survey, plans, site plan, revised site plan, cover letter, planning rationale, comparable photos, tree photos, and a community planning report. Okay, let's have our applicant.
Hi there. My
Hello.
name is Jamie Shedletsky, 49 McAllister Road, North York, Ontario, M3H2N1.
Thank you. And do you have any changes to make to the application?
Yes, so in response to some conversations with city planning, we further increased the front yard soft landscaping. So whereas before the variance was 64.7% front yard soft landscaping instead of the required 75%, we are now proposing 68.4% soft landscaping for the front yard.
All right.
So now the variance is only 6.6%.
Thank you. All right, we don't have anybody on this application. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant? No? Yes. So sorry to the applicant, I should have asked you this question. Regarding the community planning report, they're also asking that variance 2 be tied to be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan. You don't have an issue with that?
No, we are okay with that.
Okay, thank you. All right, take it into committee. Mr. Bartolo, would you like to take this one?
No problem, Madam Chair. Thank you. I think it was a relatively straightforward application, and with the modifications made by the applicant here to come in line with what staff have requested, I see no issues supporting it, and that it meets the 4 tests by my estimation. So to that effect, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application with the following revisions: that variance number 1 be modified from 64.7% to 68.4%. And that variance number 2 relating to the front yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan submitted to the Committee of Adjustment.
All right, thank you. Seconder, Mr. Fazeli? All in favor? That is carried. The application has been approved as amended. Sorry? Yes, it was. All right. Item number 4, 150 Roselawn Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a 2-story rear addition in conjunction with changes to the front yard landscaping and driveway. We have variances for building length, eaves projection into east side yard, percentage of front yard landscaping. On file, we have a previous decision from May 7th, survey, plans, presentation, 6 letters of support, and 2 letters of objection. Of our applicant. Do you have anyone here on this item? I don't believe so. No.
Arshad Ahmadi is unmuted.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Arshad Ahmadi. The client is going to be representing or they will be presenting the presentation.
Sorry, Mr. Amadi, could
Is
we
the
have your address?
Yeah, it's 150 Roselawn Avenue.
Not the subject property, your address.
Yeah, 60 Walnut West, Richmond Hill.
Thank you. And so you're saying the applicant is coming online?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you could speak a little louder.
Oh, okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Li Mingxu. I'm the owner of the subject property 150 Roselawn. I'm here to speak on behalf of my whole family to speak in support of the application. And can you bring up my presentation? And my agent is here to help me. Yeah, the first slides, can you make it bigger? Yes, thank you. And the first slide explains why the existing house is not a good long-term fit for our family. Both my husband and I are only children in our families, so we will be caring for 4 aging parents while also raising our 2 children. The existing house has only 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, which is not enough for a multi-generational family. The survey also shows a 2.99 meter rise from sidewalk to front door. This really creates a very difficult access condition with 11 exterior risers, a sloped walkway, and an existing mutual driveway with a 14% slope. The steep access has already led to multiple serious falls in my family, and it will only become more and more difficult as our parents age. So the two-pole issue we are trying to solve are more space and safer access. Next slide, please. We are proposing a 2-story rear addition at the back of the existing house. The addition aligns with the existing side walls and extends to the maximum permitted building depths. No variances are requested regarding to building depths, floor space index, or height. The first variance relates to building length. The proposed building length will be 3.09 meters greater than permitted. However, beyond this, the addition remains within the permitted building envelope and is proportionate to the 41-meter lot depth. Because of this, impacts on sunlight, shadowing, and privacy are expected to be minimal. The second variance relates to roof eave. The proposed eave condition reflects the existing condition along the east side. We have also spoken with our east neighbor, who is supportive. So we believe the impact here is also minor. Next slide. The slide shows our front yard redesign and the related landscaping variance. The main goal here is safety and accessibility. Right now, there's about 3-meter grade change at the front. Our design addresses this by introducing a safe wheelchair accessible driveway to the basement garage, avoiding the existing mutual driveway with its 14% slope and adding a new code-compliant pedestrian stairs. The variance relates to front yard landscaping. While 50% is required, we are proposing 42.3%. This reduction is needed only to make the wheelchair accessible driveway work. Given the 3-meter grade change, the driveway is the only practical way for us to achieve a safe wheelchair accessible slope, which is particularly important for our 4 aging parents. Without this variance, we would need to add a grass strip within the driveway, which could create a potential hazard by catching the wheelchair wheels. We have minimized impacts by maintaining required soft landscaping ratio and use permeable pavers to help with drainage. The layout has been reviewed by city staff with no concerns. And finally, it's important to note that street parking is not related to this variance. The garage and driveway can be constructed without any variance. Street parking issue will be addressed separately through right-of-way and curb cut permits by Transportation Department. And both transportation planning and off-street parking staff have reviewed the proposal with no concerns. Next slide. The last slide looks at the immediate streetscape along this portion of ROSELAWN. As shown in the images, lower-level garages already exist on the street. The streetscape also introduces raised main floor, a lot of front stairs, retaining walls, and driveway access as natural responses to the slope. Our proposal follows the same pattern. It responds directly to the grade to provide a safer vehicle access and improved pedestrian accessibility without adding height or additional massing. We also received 6 letters of support from our nearby neighbors, and they all feel it fits comfortably within the context. Overall, this proposal is guided by 2 simple goals: creating the space our multiple generational family needs, and providing safe, functional access. The variances are minor, site responsive, and consistent with the streetscape. And we respectfully ask the committee to support the application. Thank you. We are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions of the applicant? I have one question. Where are you parking right now?
We have a mutual driveway. The driveway is 2.4 meters, but there are a lot of utilities there, so the actual width is 2.1 meters. So we are forced to buy a small car. But my family, usually we have 6 people there, so the driveway, we cannot buy a bigger car. So it really troubles us, and also because it's too narrow, my car has been damaged 3 times.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's why we want to solve the issue, because I want a 6-seat car to fit all my family, but it cannot work now.
Okay, thank you.
And also another big thing is that the driveway is very sloped. It's 14% because we can only open the door in the front. So every time I need to walk from the back to the front, I fall down very badly last winter because there are a lot of hidden ice when winter comes, and then I cannot stand up without help. And my mom also fell there several times. I really feel very bad for that. I hope I can solve the problem for them and for
All right.
myself.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? All right. Do we have anybody on this? About the owner and the agent? There's nobody here, right? Nobody online. We received 2 letters of objection. They had to do with the parking, losing parking on the street. But they weren't from immediate neighbors. I believe they were from adjoining streets. All right. Thank you. We'll take this into committee. Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Madam Chair, I think I understand what's happening with this application, and I do have a really good sense of like what this resident might be going through as well. Seeing that there's no one else to sort of speak to this, and looking at the application, I don't feel sort of, you know, concerned about anything. I don't see anything that has sort of come up in terms of staff reports or other reports from our city staff explaining that there's any issues. And so I'm inclined to sort of approve this application, but I'll await if there's any other concerns from panel members.
Doesn't look like it. Ms. Sankar, if you'd like to go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I see Mr. Nipfeld.
Oh, Mr. Neffeld,
I just wanted to indicate that I was persuaded by the allegers concerned with street yard parking, and I don't think there's an easy solution here. There's a problem with both, but I'm inclined to agree with Ms. Sankar that of the options available, this is the most reasonable one. What I was going to suggest is if you make a motion, would you consider adding that the front yard landscaping be as per the site plan, which is drawn A200?
I can accept that amendment, and so I could put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to the site plan as my colleague had suggested in his amended phrasing, and that's my motion.
All right. Substantially in accordance, correct?
That's right.
Mr. Nipfeld had a very particular
The landscaping,
the landscaping. Because it's part of the variance.
Would you like us to,
the front yard landscaping?
Yeah, the front yard landscaping is to be as substantially as shown on the site plan drawing A200.
All right, thank you. Seconder. Mr. Nipfeld, all in favor? That is carried unanimously. All right, do we need a 5-minute break? Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll be back. All right, we are back. We are on item 5, 20 Owen Boulevard. This is an application to alter the existing detached dwelling by constructing a second-story addition. Variances are for front yard setback, and west side yard setback. On file, we have a survey, plans, a presentation, a community planning report, and urban forestry memo of our applicant. And we don't have anyone here on this item. Very humid in here. My paper's kind of wet. It's weird. Are you? Ah. The applicant, are they unmuted?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Saeed Zahedi. My address is 199 Weldrick Road, West Richmond Hill. I am the agent of the owner of the project at 20 OWEN Boulevard.
All right, thank you. Committee, do we want a presentation? No, I don't think. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Oh, yes, there is a stat. Let's just have a quick. Oh, right, okay. Have you seen the community planning report?
Yes, Madam Chair.
And you don't have a concern with the recommendation?
No, that's completely fine.
Okay, thank you. Any, urban forestry? Yep, all right. I don't think we need a presentation unless there's something you want to point out.
No, if you need to, I would be happy to have a presentation. If not, I don't want to take your time.
No, it's a very interesting transformation of a house, actually.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think we need a presentation. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? No? All right, we'll take this into committee then. Mr. Bertolo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a pretty straightforward application. I don't see any issues with what's being proposed here. And on that basis, I believe it meets the 4 tests. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following conditions: that the front yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings attached to the the staff report delivered to the Committee of Adjustment, and subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
All right, thank you. And seconded by Mr. Fazeli. All right, all in favor? That is carried unanimously. All right, thank you. Item number 6, 130 Parkview Avenue. This is an application to construct an ancillary building in the rear yard with a new driveway. The variances are for driveway width, lot coverage, rear yard setback to an ancillary building, south side yard setback for the ancillary building. On file, we have a survey, plans, photos, and forestry memo. Do we have our applicant?
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Joaquin, representative of the homeowner, Michael Shaw. My address is 730 Gary Drive, North York.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Do we need a presentation on this one?
I just have a question.
Okay, we have not sure we need a presentation, but we do have a question. Go ahead.
Of
Mr.
course.
Marcel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Forestry Department has indicated concerns over 3 private and 3 bylaw protected trees. I'm wondering if you had a conversation with them about those trees, and if so, have you got a resolution?
So I actually did. We had like a lot of review after the trees because the homeowner does not want to cut the trees as much as he likes them. We had Davey from arborist, like a professional licensed arborist, to go and analysis of the trees, And they have determined that the impact of the building is not going to be as severe as there has been pavers installed for in that such area for the last 10-15 years, and the trees have been already injured of that. And there was a meeting as well with someone from forestry department. His name was Arun, and he didn't have an objection with the with the building as well. I believe tree number 3 is the one that's closest to the proposal, to which, like I said, the homeowner wouldn't really want to remove unless it's like absolutely necessary. But the arborist has said that we're not going to be able to determine if the tree is needed to be removed or not until we start construction. But we did our measurements and heights and distances, and we were clearing the tree.
Thank you. The other question I had is, we have our late community planning report. Have you seen it? Are you familiar with it?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
We have received a late community planning report on your application. Have you seen the report?
No, I did not. I did not see the report yet. I did not receive it.
It's on the screen right now because it recommends
It's on the screen.
refusal of the application.
Yeah, I can see it on the screen. Okay, yeah, I actually got the comments. I spoke to Mr. Wilser. He communicated the comments to me, and I responded back to him saying that, this is not an uncommon proposal, as there's several properties in the same street and the same neighborhood with like detached garage that are like in their backyards as well. I gave him those almost 10 different addresses that are within the same area that have the same sort of layout. Now, back in the day when the homeowner decided to build a house, he went through community of adjustment as well, seeking for a relief on a 3-car garage. But back in the day, that application got denied, and his garage needs were reduced to only 2-car garage. And due to that, he's been parking his vehicles outside, and his house has become a target. Now, I've submitted a lot of evidence of like people trying to break into his house, and this has become now very severe because the numerous attempts of breaking in has severely increased in the last 2 to 3 years. And his worries are that at some point someone is actually going to break into his house and do harm to his family just because the vehicles are parked outside. Now, of course, we're willing to comply as much as we can with the zoning code. If there's anything to reduce the impact of visual, street, like the view of the street, the lot coverage on the property, the amount of hardscape around the backyard, we're willing to like cut off on that. But the detached garage is something that is not only needed by them, it's a security point of view at this point.
I have a question. Sorry,
course.
Mr. Neufeld, I'm not sure if you were finished. So you have there is a 2-car garage on the front of the house. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's not on Parkview Avenue, it's on the other street because this is a
Right.
corner lot.
So really you don't really need a double car garage in this location. A single would probably suffice if they have 3 cars. I understand you're asking for double car garage, but a single car garage, did you discuss that with planning? Would reduce the lot coverage, would still achieve what the homeowner is trying to do, but would have less of an impact generally within the neighborhood, might address planning's comments. Did you have that conversation?
We did not, no.
That would have been
But
my
we're, like I
advice.
said, we're fully open to changing the layout in a way that makes sense. And a
Okay, but
double car
that's,
garage is ideally, if
yeah,
anything, we could potentially reduce the amount of space at the very back of the garage, make it shorter, but the need for the double car garage is there. You know, homeowner wouldn't really want to spend all that money for just a single car garage.
I understand that, but generally there aren't 4-car garages in the neighborhood anywhere, are there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
Well, I
there are
think
not. I don't think there are. I know there are a few 3-car garages in the neighborhood, and I understand the owner asked for that originally, but there aren't 4-car garages that I'm aware of. Or do you have any other examples where there's a 2-car garage as part of the house, and then they've built a 2-car detached garage in the backyard?
no.
No, I didn't think so. Thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, let's take it into committee. Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a lot of trouble with this application, and quoting from the Planning Department report, and I completely agree with this, that regarding the driveway width, lot coverage, and the rear yard setback of the ancillary building, it creates an excessive overdevelopment of the site. I completely agree with that. And I'm unable to support the application. I don't believe it meets the 4 tests.
Okay, I sympathize on the theft issue. We've had 2 car thefts over the weekend in my neighborhood, so I'm fully aware of the issue, and it's a big problem. However, I agree with Mr. Nipfeld, and I think this could have been addressed. I think that a slightly oversized 1-car garage, if they're trying to achieve some additional space, would be more than sufficient on the lot and would probably meet the lot coverage, or more than closer to meet the lot coverage. It just doesn't sound like a lot of willingness to compromise on the owner's part, in my opinion. Anyone else? No? Does anyone want to make a motion? Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I recommend refusal of the application, as I don't believe that it meets the 4 tests that we look at in reviewing variance applications.
All right, thank you. Seconder, Mr. Fazeli, thank you. All in favor of the motion? That is unanimous. The motion's been approved, so the application has been refused. All right, moving on to item number 7, 166 Franklin Avenue. This is an application to legalize and maintain existing rear decks. Variances are for deck, side yard setback to the southwest property line, height and projection from the rear wall. On file, we have a survey, plans, cover letter, arborist report, TRCA comments, 1 letter of support, late ravine and natural feature protection comments, but they had no comments. All right. Let's have our applicant.
I'm on the line.
Thank you. And your name and address, please.
My name is Anne Marie Corker from 166 Franklin Avenue. I believe you should have 8 letters of support.
1 moment. We do have a number. I don't know that I counted them.
Oh, I thought you said 1. I apologize.
No. Did I? I don't think so. Sorry, I read it fast. Oh, I did write 1. I'm sorry. Several. You're correct. All right. Do we need a presentation, anyone? Don't think we have anybody objecting to it. Maybe you could just explain how we're in this situation?
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that the work was done prior to the permit, but it kind of arose from a misunderstanding between my contractor and myself. And so I've come today to take the appropriate corrective action. I appreciate your time and consideration. Would you like me to go over?
Does anyone want a presentation, or do you have any questions? I don't think so. I think we're okay. Should we take it into committee? All right, we'll take it into committee. Anyone? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Listen, in reviewing this application, it's a fairly straightforward application. TRCA doesn't have any issues with it, and it's not triggering any other variances related to coverage or softscape or anything like this. So in principle, I don't like applications after the fact when something's built, but that being said, I think this is minor in the scheme of minor variances and a supportable application.
All right, thank you. Ms. Sankar, second? Thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. The application's been approved. All right. Yes, item 8. No, not deferred. This one was deferred within the meeting as we considered the deferral and didn't grant it. So now we're on item 8, which the gentlemen in the audience have been waiting for patiently. Okay, 207 Connaught Avenue. This is an application to permit 2 additional units in the basement of the existing fourplex for a total of six dwelling units and the garden suite to remain. The variance is to permit 2 additional units. On file, we have a previous decision from November 9th, 2023, a deferral request, a survey, plans, revised plans, arborist report, photos, and a community planning report. All right, before we begin, well, let's have our applicant come forward. But I just want to say to the residents that the permission for the multiplexes on the garden suite was granted by the city some time ago now, and that is not under debate. And in this case, they're asking for 2 additional units, which I think you're well aware of what that is, which would effectively make it into a 6-plex, which would be an apartment, I believe. So that is the request, but we're not debating the merits of the building type that's already been approved, i.e. the multiplex and the garden suite. So it's the variance to permit the 2 additional units. But let's have the applicant come forward.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Jimmy from, hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Jimmy from Perspective Views. Our principal, Matthew Rebar, is registered to speak and has now joined the hearing. With the committee's permission, I'd like Matthew to address the application.
Okay, so let's have Matthew's name and address and first to start with.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Matthew Rebo, Perspective Views at 5359 Timberlea Boulevard, Mississauga, and I'm the agent representing the owners at 207 Connaught Ave. Just want to make sure, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, so today, a little bit frustrated. I know we've requested a deferral and it's on the docket to be heard. With that said, we don't have planning staff support, and we were hoping to work with planning staff support, or sorry, to gain planning staff support. But I have a brief presentation or comment to make despite of that. So
Right.
I will continue.
Go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
We have reviewed the planning. Yeah, we've reviewed the planning staff comments and have requested a deferral so that we can work with planning staff to gain support. However, request has been denied today. This proposal will not provide this proposal will provide necessary additional housing stock. The original design was submitted for permit and approved by future consideration to convert the basement space to 2 additional units. The built form is already existing, and by right and approval of this application will have no negative impact on the neighborhood and simply delay the legalization of 2 additional dwelling units. With that said, we acknowledge that the councillor in this ward has not supported multiplexes of this size to be permitted, but we are confident that the built form is suitable for the neighborhood. It does meet the 4 tests, and if challenged at at LPAT, we're hoping not to go to LPAT and work with planning staff, but seeing as this is being heard today, we're hoping that planning staff will see that under the current policy structure, we are doing our best to work with planning staff. The proposed 2 units, again, as previously stated in the introduction of this application, the rear garden suite is permitted by right, and the current built form is permitted by right with an approved issued building permit. And none of that is in contest. Nothing has been done after the fact. We are simply requesting permission to build 2 more units in the basement space. The current issued building permit lists the basement as unfinished, and we are trying to go the legal process to legalize these 2 additional units. So, with that said, we are, we are proposing no negative impact on the community. We are confident that we meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and we welcome any questions from planning staff.
All right, it won't be planning staff, it's committee staff or
Sorry,
committee
sorry,
members.
committee, you're right.
All right, does anyone have any questions before we go to the residents? No? All right. Sorry? Yeah, so just to clarify, what we're talking about is a proposal with 6 units within the building plus the garden suite. So it'd be a total of 7 units on the property. All right, let's start with our residents. Whoever wants to come first and speak. Come on down. Just make sure the microphone's on, and if we could start with your name and address, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed. My last name is Qashqai Saadi. I'm a resident of the 220 Connaught Avenue, North York. Regarding this file, 207 Connaught Avenue minor variance application, I would say, dear member of Committee of Adjustment, we are writing as resident of the 220 Connaught Avenue to formally register our opposition to the minor variance application, requesting permission to add 2 additional dwelling units to the basement of the existing 4-plex and in that area. Actually, it is not 4, I think it is 7. Now, we understand and respect the need of additional housing in Toronto, but we don't believe this specific proposal is appropriate for our street. Our concerns are as follows. I summarize them. One of them is traffic congestion. Second one is inadequate parking. It's so important. Third one is neighborhood character. And strain on services and infrastructure. I mean, a higher density of resident increased demand on municipal service, waste collection. Imagine now there is 4 units, 2 additional is 6, consider 7 times 2 when we wanna collect the garbage and recycle. How many bins they need to put in this street? It's 40 bins. Every week, 40 bins they will put in the street. So this is our issue there. Another issue is noise and privacy is obvious. And the last one is precedent for future application. For this reason, we respectfully request the committee deny this application or at minimum require the applicant to address parking and traffic impacts before any approval is considered. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions of the resident? No? All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Does someone else want to come forward?
Hi, my name is Sharuz. I'm the resident, Sharuz Shoy, the resident of 203 Connaught Avenue, just adjacent to that one. The first thing that I can tell you, it's about that we never saw this owner, and then during the construction, I sent the picture, the way that they treat the street right now, and they cut the fence and then nobody come and repair it. They took my fence and I don't know where it is. It means right now they're building, there's no owner on it, and then there's no privacy, no character, no personality, no responsibility on that one. If there would be more rental unit there, we don't know what will happen about that. This is the beginning that you saw on the picture, one of them. And it means, as I said, it's a lack of respect and adjacent property. The second thing is about the parking, that we didn't see, we don't know if there is 6 family living there, or where they want to park their car. And right now they're using our front for parking and using the material there. Is about the traffic they're making. And really, my own property, I just get this one because in front of that there was only the garden that I see now. There is a garden suite. The window is right in front of my house, and I don't know how will be the privacy of the my home. I mean, when I buy this property, I pay an extra just because the privacy of this land have this block had. And we have a safety concern for sure. And then we saw that the job is done. Right now they are doing everything, and before they take everything, as we see on the panel of the electrical panel, and then they dig yesterday, last week, sorry. I respectfully request that the committee refuse the application for the according dwelling unit of 207 Connaught Avenue.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right, thank you very much. Next. Hello?
My name is Ratnam Jayakumar. I am the owner of 199 Connaught Avenue. Basically, I'm objecting the proposal because, you know, in the neighborhood, you don't have this kind of 6 units plus the garden house. And also, I agree with the first speaker that, you know, he listed all the items. I concur with that. And I'm opposing that, you know, I don't, you know, basically, you know, I object that, you know, to give an approval for 2 more units because already crowded, already 4 units are there. And I'm objecting for the other 2 units. Thank you. Thank you for
all right.
giving
Thank you for being brave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, here I am again.
Yes, welcome.
I wrote a few notes. Hopefully, it won't be more than a couple of minutes. I'm just going to read what I have here, okay?
Sorry, sir, we need to start with your name and address again.
Oh, Sam Themelis, 216 Connaught Avenue.
Thank you.
Can I go ahead? Okay. I'm a resident living right across from 207 Connaught. I'm writing to formally object the application to add 2 additional dwelling units, bringing the total to 7 units within the structure that occupies a lot designed for a single-family home. I'm asking the committee to refuse this application based on the following planning concerns. Number 1, incompatibility with existing neighborhood character. Connaught Avenue is an established neighborhood of single-family homes. A 7-unit dwelling is completely out of character with the surrounding residential fabric. This site was originally a single-family home, and its footprint, driveway, and site layout were designed for that purpose. Converting it into a 7-unit complex is an extreme intensification that ignores the established physical character of our community. Number 2, gross mismatch in parking capacity. The property features a standard-sized driveway that accommodates a maximum of 2 to 3 vehicles. A 7-unit development creates a realistic demand for 7 to 14 vehicles. Before even accounting for guest or delivery services, there is no physical capacity on the lot to handle this increase. Number 3, safety hazards and restricted access. Our street is narrow and already experiencing high traffic volume due to its proximity to Yonge Street. Compounding this, a fire hydrant is located directly across from 207 Connaught, which legally prohibits parking on the portion of the street. By forcing 7+ households to rely on street parking, this proposal will create a dangerous bottleneck. This will directly impede the ability of fire trucks, ambulances, and waste management vehicles to navigate our streets, a risk that is unacceptable to our residents. Number 4, the variance is not minor. Increasing this site from 4 units to 7 is a 75% increase in density. This is not a minor variance. It is a fundamental change in the use and intensity of the property. The site simply does not have the infrastructure or space to support this scale of development. I live right across the street. I witness the daily constraints of our infrastructure firsthand. This development is not desirable or appropriate use of this land. I respectfully request that the committee refuse this application to protect the safety, functionality, and character of our neighborhood. And also I might add that I think one of my other neighbors mentioned about the, I guess the garbage cans that, go out every Tuesday morning. It's just going to be unsightly, it's not going to be a good sight to see that every day. I don't know what else to tell you, but I don't think this application should be supported. Most of the people living in the area are just single families. Some of them have a basement rented, others don't. And that's about it. So if you guys can consider this, not to approve this application because it's not within what, the resident wants. There's a couple other residents that I spoke to and they came to talk to me. They worked today and they couldn't come. There was another gentleman here earlier that wanted to participate, but he had to leave because he's got to fly out tomorrow. So anyway, please consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right. All right, let's have the applicant back to address the concerns that have been raised by the residents.
Sorry, Madam Chair, there is one other speaker online.
Online?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yep, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes, okay. I'm glad I wasn't sure I was able to get on. Yeah, I was there and but I have to run away, preparing for a flight out of the country.
Could we start with your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Moses Black and my address is 213 Connaught Avenue, one house over from 207. I'll just read what I put together regarding this application. I am the resident of Connaught Avenue and wish to formally object to the requested minor variance to 207 Connaught Avenue. The proposal seeks permission to increase the number of dwelling units on the property originally intended for a family a single-family resident lot by maintaining a garden suite while adding 2 additional basement dwelling units to an existing fourplex, resulting in a total of 7 separate residential units on a single-family residential lot. I heard the applicant speak about the planning staff and indicating that there will be no impact on the resident. I cannot understand how they can logically come to that conclusion. Okay, while I support the responsible housing development, I believe this proposal represents an over-intensification of the property that is incompatible with the established character of our neighborhood and will create significant adverse impact on both nearby residents and the community as a whole. My concern includes the following: parking and traffic congestion. The development containing several dwelling unit will likely generate substantially more vehicle than can reasonably be accommodated on a lot originally designed for a single-family resident. Even if minimum parking requirements were technically satisfied, the number of residents, visitors, delivery service vehicles, and contractors will inevitably increase demand on the on-street parking on a street that did not even allow overnight parking before. This will reduce available parking for existing residents and their visitors, increase traffic congestion on an already established residential street, restrict the access of emergency vehicle, create additional conflicts between vehicle, pedestrian, and cyclists, create a problem removing snow during the winter months, increase the garbage and recycling. Several dwellings can generate several times the volume of waste produced by the traditional family. This raises concern regarding overflow garbage and recycling bins, storage in the waste containers. The requested variance goes well beyond, sorry, let's get this here. Okay, to continue, it says it will affect wind-blown litter, increase environments such as rats and raccoons, greater pressure on the municipal waste collection service. These impact negatively affect neighborhood appearance and public health. Noise. The noise and loss of residential character. A building occupied by numerous individual households will naturally create vehicle movements, conversation outdoors, loud conversation outdoors, late night arrivals and departures, deliveries, general activity throughout the day and evening. The cumulative effect is a level of activity more consistent with an apartment building than a low density residential neighborhood. Safety of our children and pedestrians. Connaught Avenue is a home to many families with children. Additional vehicle movements associated with multiple resident units increase the risk of children playing outside, residents walking on the neighborhood, and cyclists and seniors walking on the street, like myself. The street infrastructure was never intended to support a level of traffic associated with 7 separate households on one residential lot. The general public safety. Higher residential density on a single lot can create additional demand on fire access, emergency response, utility services, snow clearing, and municipal infrastructure.
Sir, if you could wrap up, your time's pretty much up.
Okay. Well, my other residents have raised most of the concerns, so I'll just jump to the my conclusion. because I have more points to point out, but I'll go to my conclusion.
All right.
The requested variance goes well beyond what most residents would reasonably consider minor. The proposal uh, represent a significant increase in residential intensity on a lot intended for a much smaller density development. In my opinion, the application is not minor in nature. It's incompatible with surrounding neighborhood, does not maintain the intent of the zoning bylaw, does not maintain the intent of the official plans for a stable residential neighborhood, is not desirable for the appropriate development of the property and surrounding area. For these reasons, I respectfully request the Committee of Adjustment to refuse the requested variance. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? No. All right. Let's have the applicant back now. Mr. Pham?
Hi, Matthew, gonna address the application, please.
Okay.
All right, hello,
Yes, go ahead.
committee?
Yep.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Thank you for all the concerned neighbors' comments. I will do my best to consolidate my responses. Infrastructure has already been accommodated for future consideration. So in regards to additional load on infrastructure, the municipal building staff are not concerned about that. Regarding parking and traffic, this is a common concern for all communities trying to meet intensification targets. Not all tenants rely on proposed personal vehicle transportation, and alternative transportation methods would be satisfactory for the majority of the tenants. There was another comment about fences. I do apologize if anything was, disassembled during construction or as a result of construction, but obviously that would be made right, whether it was depending on what side of the property line, et cetera, and fences can be rebuilt. This is not what we are here to discuss today. I'm not sure what can be done for more privacy for proposed basement units. Normally we get these comments for additional units above grade or looking down on other units or rear lots, etc. In this case, the proposed units are in the basement, which is an already built structure. Again, the current permitted building permit is just unfinished. We want to legally propose 2 additional units. Compatibility of existing neighborhood. I can appreciate the comment. However, the built form complies with all other bylaws, and we believe a lot of care and consideration was considered when designing this structure so that we didn't infringe on the existing neighborhood characteristics. It complies with all other bylaws, and it does in fact respect the neighborhood built form. Regarding garbage and recycling, we all know that this is provided by public service and enforced by municipal property standards. I don't think that this, we get this comment a lot at committee, and I don't see this as being an argument against the 4 tests. Lastly, similar neighborhood councilors have supported the municipal policy to intensify neighborhoods. And this is, I personally, whether this be true or not, I believe it's a matter of time before these targets are more widely adopted throughout other neighborhoods. In this case, the current councillor, I understand, did not support the intensification policies and opted not to permit additional dwelling units or these types of structures in this neighborhood. However, that doesn't change the fact that it is in support of the overall planning policies. This is, we know it meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. And again, I'm here to answer any other questions that might come up from committee members. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So what is the waste management requirement for garbage bins for multiplexes? What do they require in a situation for the 4 units and the garden suite? Is it one set of garbage
Sorry.
bins per unit? Hello?
Sorry, Madam Chair, is that addressed to me or planning staff?
Yes, to you.
Yes, I do believe that it's one per occupied tenant. However, if this is a serious concern, it can be limited as a condition on approval.
Right, and I'm curious why you didn't
We have
attach
seen this before.
any photos of the building that's there.
Simply
It's built,
because it
correct?
was under construction.
Oh,
Yeah, so by right, we have a building permit and they're just, the owners are following the current building permit. Again, just to clarify for all parties, nothing was done in malice or after the fact. This is permitted construction and we are now proposing the, 2 additional basement units on top of what is by right permitted.
all right. I just thought it would be helpful if you attach some photos of the site, but that's a personal thing. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You mentioned that you're working under an existing building permit and what is before us is permitted. Does that mean, do you have a building permit that shows 6 dwelling units in the building, and is that what the permit says?
No, it's only 4.
Through you, Chair. No, correction. We are permitted to build a 4-unit structure. And we proposed under the current issued building permit, the basement is unfinished. And that is a permit that is ongoing. And that is why we didn't propose, we didn't submit any photos. It was simply as a matter of clarity. We didn't want to confuse anybody. The building is still being constructed legally under that issued permit.
But the
Today,
two
we are
units,
seeking these variances to simply permit.
The 2 units in the basement are existing
The,
or
the,
proposed?
No, no. So the basement is currently unfinished, and we are here today asking for permission to build 2 basements in the 2 additional units in the basement. We've roughed them in, but it's unfinished. And again, everything is legal under the current issued building permit.
Thank you.
Any further questions, anyone? No? Let's take it into committee. Mr. Nipfel?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. There's some confusion here then, because the planning department is indicating that the application here is to legalize 2 basement units, not to build them, so to legalize them. Having said that, however, the applicant keeps saying that this meets the 4 tests, and I really question that. I don't believe it does, and the planning department doesn't believe it does, because as indicated in the planning department report, the provisions for RD zone within North York don't permit more than 4 dwelling units within an existing houseplex or fourplex, and that the bylaw amendment, or the official plan amendment 818, that pertain to multiplexes that are 6 units, which is what the applicant's asking for, doesn't apply in this area. It only applies to Toronto, East York, and in portions Scarborough North, which is Ward 23. So as far as I can see, this is completely contrary to the official plan. Clearly does not meet the 4 tests, and the reason that I voted to not have this deferred is I didn't see that there was anything that could be done to adjust that. It doesn't comply. It won't comply unless there's an official plan amendment. And as the planning department indicates in their report, this is a more appropriate line of discussion and evaluation for this kind of application is an official plan amendment or a bylaw amendment. So on that basis, Madam Chairman, I don't believe we have any choice but to refuse this application. And I certainly, I believe I will definitely be voting for a refusal.
All right, thank you. Anyone else want to comment? I mean, I agree with Mr. Nipfeld. I don't think it's a minor variance. I don't think it meets the 4 tests, and I think staff are correct. Not sure why staff indicated that it was to legalize. Maybe because the basement is existing, not really
Maybe,
sure. And and it's roughed in, so that's probably why. But I would agree with you otherwise. I think that, and with staff, that this should be the subject of an official plan amendment and rezoning so that it receives a full and fulsome public process, I would say. But it hasn't had that, and they're indicating that they think it meets the 4 tests, but I don't think it does either. Anyone else? Would you care to make a motion, Mr. Nipfeld?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move that the application be refused. It doesn't meet the 4 tests.
All right, do we have a seconder? Ms. Sankar? All in favor? Okay, that is 4 in favor. And opposed? Mr. Bartolo's opposed. All right. The application has been refused. All right, item 9, 240 ARMOUR Boulevard. This is an application to construct a 2nd-story balcony at the rear of the dwelling. The variances are for area of a platform at or above the 2nd story. On file, we have a previous decision from 2017, survey plans, tree photos, 2 letters of support from 38 Romney Road and 234 ARMOUR Boulevard. We have our applicant. We don't have any.
Good afternoon. I'm Drew Laszlo. My address is 3405 Bathurst Street, Suite 201, Toronto.
Thank you, Mr. Laszlo. And we don't have anybody here on this item or in the online. All right, thank you. I don't think we need a presentation, Mr. Laszlo. Does anyone have a question for him? Mr. Nipfeld.
Madam Chairman, Mr. Laszlo, would you have any difficulty with the condition that the existing covered deck is to remain unenclosed?
Oh, yeah, of course. That would be great. Yeah, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we'll take this into committee. Mr. Nipfeld, on that line, would you like to make a motion?
I think it's a very straightforward application. I don't personally have any difficulties with it. I think it meets 4 tests. I would recommend it be approved, subject to a condition that the existing covered deck remain unenclosed.
All right, I think that's a good condition, and Ms. Sankar is willing to second that. All right, all in favor? That is unanimous, carried. Application's been approved. All right, item number 11, 71 Yonge Boulevard. Sorry? Oh, sorry. 10. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Number 10. 230 AIRDRIE Road. This is an application to construct a new ancillary building containing a parking space in the rear yard. The variance is for coverage of ancillary buildings, south side yard setback, floor area of an ancillary building, eve encroachment into south and north lot lines, parking space length, and lot coverage. On file, we have survey plans, site photos, and a transportation review memo. All right, just need our applicant.
Good morning, committee.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. My name is Kristen Sachs. My address is 109 Cedar Valley View Road in Hanover, Ontario. Would you like a presentation today?
I don't think we need a presentation, but I'll ask my panel members. Anyone? No, I don't think so. Does anyone have any questions? Or unless there's something you wanted to point out specifically, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing I'd like to point out specifically is we are replacing an existing detached garage. And the variances that we asked today are the I mean, the case of zoning bylaw changes over the years, we're more or less sticking with the existing footprint. However, we are adding a small addition of some conditioned space for the owner to have some workout equipment exterior to their house. Beyond that, that really, I just wanted to point out that we are replacing existing structure.
Yes, okay, we can see that from the site photo, I guess. Thank you. Any questions? No, we'll take this into committee then. Oh, Mr. Bartolo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I do think this application meets the four tests and is minor in nature, and with largely replacing the existing with new, I think it's a supportable application. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application.
Thank you. Seconder? Transportation, did they have some, but did they have any, they just wanted to revise the site plan, so subject to the transportation conditions? We're okay with that?
I can accept an amendment to add the 3 items in the conclusion section
Okay,
of the transportation memo attached.
yep.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, seconder, Mr. Pizzelli. All in favor? That is unanimous. Carried. The application's been approved. Now we're on 71 Young Boulevard. This is an application to construct a one-story addition garage at the north side of the existing dwelling and a one-story front entry addition. The variances are main pedestrian entrance height above grade, front yard setback, rear yard setback, side yard setback to the north lot line, driveway width, and floor space index. On file, we have a survey, plans, revised zoning notice, community planning report, and a transportation review memo. Welcome. You've been waiting a long time.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So let's start with your name and address first.
Absolutely. My name is Addison Milne Price. I'm a planner employed at Design Plan Services located at 87 Skyway Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. And let's see, we have a community planning report. Have you seen the community planning report? Do you have any concerns with it?
I have no concerns. Community planning is simply requesting that we tie the the approval to the setbacks indicated on the site plan.
Okay. And we do have somebody online, is that correct? So we have a concerned neighbor apparently, so maybe you could provide a brief presentation on what's proposed?
Absolutely. And while we were talking about conditions, I'll note that transportation staff also requested some conditions, and we're fine with those conditions as well, just looking for some notes on the site plan. So overall, this application is quite straightforward. We're looking to do 2 things in this application. The first is to remove the existing detached garage and move it to be an attached garage. Obviously, we'll demolish it first, but if you can see on the site plan compared to the survey, it's essentially the same 1-car garage footprint that is now going to be an attached garage. The rest of the dwelling is going to be largely unchanged, apart from one small front addition that is essentially being constructed on top of the existing front porch. And so that sort of leads into variance 1. We aren't actually adjusting the height of the pedestrian entrance. That 4 centimeters that it's above the 1.2 meter requirement, it already exists. Despite the fact that the 4 centimeters, it's very difficult to even perceive. Just in terms of the front yard setback and the rear yard setback, these 2 variances are largely arise from the irregular lot shape. As you can see from the site plan, it's a bit of a regular trapezoid shape. You'll notice from looking at the site plan that the dwelling and the new garage and the addition are quite in line with the existing front yard setbacks on either side. In addition to the regular front lot line, this is also somewhat unique of a case where it's adjacent to a through lot. So that structure just on the top of the building there is actually a detached garage for the neighbor. It's not a house. And so that doesn't allow us to take advantage of the average distance. Instead, we get hit with the standard 6 meters, but it will be in line with the existing street wall. And in terms of the rear yard setback, we're essentially just pushing up that existing detached garage, which is going to not only increase the amount of soft landscaping in the rear yard, increase the separation distance, and have a little bit more space for using that rear yard. We're also increasing the side yard setback. You may notice that we were issued a revised zoning notice because originally we had a side yard setback variance. We don't anymore because that variance is within 10% of the requirement. As per the changes to the Planning Act recently, that is an as of right variance. Just all that is to say that distance that we're proposing, the side yard setback, it is an increase from what the existing detached garage is. So overall, this is a small improvement to the existing property. In terms of the driveway variance, again, this is because of the strange lot shape. You can see that the measurement of the driveway width, if taken, parallel to the garage, it's actually about 4.44 meters. And we're also not changing that driveway. We're not changing the curb cut. All of that is going to remain existing. So there's not going to be any change there at all either. And just with regard to the FSI variance, again, this is also a case where this is largely an existing condition. Of course, most of this FSI pertains to that existing dwelling right there. In fact, the site plan or the site stats rather show that the existing FSI is 0.76 of the house. That doesn't include the existing detached garage, by the way. So overall, the amount of floor space is really quite similar to what's existing, as well for lot coverage. Of course, that's not a variance, but really the point I'm trying to drive home is that we're just slightly transposing the garage, attaching it to the existing dwelling, and adding a very small front addition on the porch. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take questions or perhaps answer any questions that the neighbor has.
All right, thank you. No, that was a good presentation. It's pretty clear plans as well, so that's helpful. Let's hear from the resident and then we'll bring you back.
Christopher Yip's unmuted.
Okay.
Oh, hi. No, I'm representing Christopher Yip. This is Jennifer Yip. We're just attending just to make sure we understand the plans. I guess so I understand.
Sorry, can we
Hello?
just start with your name and address, please?
My name is Jennifer Yip.
Okay, and your address?
51 Ridley Boulevard.
Okay, and sorry, you said you're just attending to understand?
I'm to understand, we got the letter, wanted to attend to understand the plan. So no questions at this time, but from I understand, the proposal is just to push out the driveway and the porch. So as long as there's no changes to the garage on the behind, that was just really one of my clarification. And I was hoping the presentation would clarify that, and it sounds like it does.
Okay.
If I'm meant to understand, it's really just the frontage, right?
Right, to clarify, I think it's the garage that's being pushed forward.
Right.
Right.
And so
You
there's
said
no
the
change
driveway.
to the yeah. Okay, sorry, drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no change to the existing garage, no construction being done along the property line, because it is a weird one. The garage literally, I think, is right on the fence line.
Yes.
So yeah, that was just really just more information for me.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll let the applicant just clarify that for you. Okay. Thank you. you want to just come forward and just clarify? You said you're taking that original garage down, correct?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the neighbor who asked the question. Essentially, the understanding is correct. We'll be demolishing the existing garage and we'll be moving it farther away from the adjacent properties. So it's going to be an attached garage that's located farther away from the rear property and farther away from the property to the north.
Right.
Oh, okay, so then, okay, that clarifies things. So you're gonna be demolishing the existing garage, but then moving it away from, I guess, the line, or
Moving it towards Young Boulevard. Does
moving
that
it?
make
So then what
sense?
happens to the space behind, I guess, the new garage between, I guess, the property line and then, I guess, the new garage?
I think the applicant indicated that that would be soft landscaping, i.e. grass or something.
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct. Yes, it would be soft landscaping.
So,
okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll take this into committee now. Excuse me, losing my voice. All right. Ms. Sankar, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. I think I understand this application very well, and I don't have a problem with it. I think it was really well explained and delicately done. So I'm just going to put forward, if no one else has any questions, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the July 2nd staff report, in that variances 2 and 3 to the front rear yard setbacks be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing that was submitted. And then also make it subject to, I believe it's the June 26th, yes, transportation report, where there were 3 specific recommendations or action items in the conclusion section. And that's my motion.
Thank you very much. Seconder? Mr. Nipfel, all in favor? That is unanimous. The application has been approved. You're welcome. All right, we will break now and be back at 2 p.m. Thank you.